Hello, here we are again. It's sunny today. I thought, well, I didn't do a class yesterday for you, so here you are. This is this week's class. It's Tuesday today in case you get it on a different day. So we're going to start lying down today and we're going to do basically all floor work. So get yourself comfortable, make sure you've got enough space. When we do your usual checks, your wingspan check, I'll get used to doing these, but make sure you get enough room when we get back into the classes. So quick check, have a block or a cushion for your head if you want, a rolled up towel, some water, and we'll get going. So lie yourself down on your mat, knees bent or legs straight, whatever's comfortable for you today, and just play with it, see which suits you better. Relax the shoulders, reset the hips, nice long neck. So if you find your chin's kind of lifted up and you've got a big arch in your neck, that's telling you need to put something underneath your head to lengthen it. Same in the lower back if it's very tight and a very big arch for you. I mean, mine's always arch, but if it's bigger than your usual arch in your back, then I would start with the knees bent just to give it a bit more support today. Breathe, reset yourself and breathe. Feel the rib cage expanding and contracting. Notice any misalignment that you hadn't noticed and correct it if you can. Let the spine just start to lengthen out, decompressing all that pressure in the lower back and the neck. And then when you're ready, start to turn your head from side to side. I try all different warm-ups, but I do prefer this one myself, so I keep coming back to it. It's that massage on the back of the neck, back of the head rather. Check out for any tension that you're holding onto in the face, so soften the muscles in the face a little bit. And then just bring your head over to the one side and just hold it there for a breath or two for the stretch in the side of the neck. Same on the other side. Bring your head back to centre, reset it, reset the shoulders. Change your leg position if your legs are feeling a bit tight. Bend one arm, hand just resting lightly on the shoulder if it suits you, and circle the arm out. Try and keep the rest of your body still, so we're isolating into the shoulder. Change direction. So you should know by doing a few of these how tight and creaky that shoulder is. If it's still feeling quite tight and creaky, stay with this. If it's feeling okay, then into your full arm circle. Try and keep the ribcage pulled down a little bit, so a bit of squeezing in the centre, not to flatten into the floor, just to hold the ribcage still, circling that arm round. Circle might get bigger as your shoulder loosens up. You can reverse the circle if it feels right for you. Okay, and then we'll move over to the other arm. Start with your bent and just stir around. Again, just that slight bit of pressure, just like you've kind of been coughing and you feel that tension in your belly where you've been using those abdominal muscles. That's the kind of tension we want, so not a massive amount. Reverse your circle. It's just enough to keep this stable all around the centre. So now you know how that shoulder's feeling, and if it feels okay to do a big circle, go for it. And reverse the circle when you're ready. And the warm-up is very personal. Especially when you're doing it on your own, you've got that luxury of just staying with moves for longer than you have when you're in a group. So take advantage of it. Then if you want, you can do both arms together, lengthen out. You might feel a little lift of the rib cage. That's fine if you want to work your upper back at this stage, but if you'd rather just keep it into the shoulders, keep that rib cage pulled down. Opening up across the chest. One more, and then we're going to put the hands underneath the head. Bring the arms back and round, and then put your hands underneath your head for a little stretch across the chest. So reset the shoulders, don't want to pinch anything, and then bring your arms in towards your ears and out. It's not boding well that I can't remember my limbs already. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. But if this move is too much, then lying with your arms out to the side, letting them go nice and heavy is a good option, just to try and get a little bit of lengthening across the front there. But hands underneath your head if you can. Feeling the shoulder blades moving across your back. Now, squeeze the shoulder blades together and leave them there for a few breaths. And you're really trying to expand this rib cage section now. Pulling the air right deep down and pushing it out again. I don't need to keep fidgeting. I don't want any pinching in the neck or across the shoulders. Just start to be aware of using the muscles in your upper back. Lovely. Then into our supine twist. So take the hands underneath the head. Or you can leave your hands there for supine twist as long as it doesn't affect your twist. Otherwise, arms out to the side, palms facing up. Bend the knees if you haven't already. Knees and feet together. And twist. So your upper body is staying pretty still, and you're twisting from the waist to take the knees over. Bring them back. Take them over to the other side. Stack the feet. Don't worry if the knees lift away from each other slightly, but you don't want to end up kind of like this position. You are looking for this pelvis to come up and over. It is a twist. You can turn your head and look the opposite way if you want to. So we're starting to get the obliques and the centre of the spine working now, loosening up. And again, with this stretch, it's a nice one to develop this, so you can stay there a little bit longer and think about trying to line the knees up. So this top hip is coming over a little bit more, as long as it doesn't pull the shoulder with it. So that's you just starting to hold that stretch. Don't hold your breath. Key part of stretching is the breathing. And then if you've got the room and you feel so inclined, you can twist and push that top leg out. Pull the toes towards you, push the heel away to get a little bit of calf work and ankle work while we're here. I like to combine my exercises, get as much as I can done. No point taking all day over it, so, unless you want to. So try and sink the opposite shoulder into the floor as you push this leg away. And then we'll get into the lower back and the hips. So we'll start with a pelvic tilting, just to tilt the pelvis backwards and forwards. So you're coming in and out of neutral, in and out of your extremes really, tilting back. So you've got kind of a hollowed belly, and then level, and then tilting forward, so you've got a domed belly. Try not to push on your neck, just letting the pelvis rock. Use your front abdominal muscles to tilt the pelvis back, and use your back muscles to tilt the pelvis forward. Settle back at neutral and have your knees and feet wider. Remember, hip replacements, you go back to the twisting, or just stay still with your feet apart, just to get a little bit of loosening in the adductors, the inner thigh if you want to. But the rest of you, you're going to go back to a little bit of a rock. There's not so much twist now, the pelvis isn't really moving. Now we're getting into the hip itself. And just letting your feet rock from side to side, so just loosening around that hip. I like this one. This is my roadkill exercise. And again, you can stay there and think about lengthening through that leg. from the hip down to the knee. Squeeze your bum a little bit to get into the hip flexors. And we tend to get very tight in the front of this hip. So if you squeeze your bum and think about stretching through, you'll find one side's better than the other. You'll find you get a bit, it's more difficult to stretch one side than it is the other. Don't put off doing that more difficult side though, because that is the side that needs the work. So don't always think about just because I'm good at something, I'll do more of it. You've got to think about trying to balance your body up as much as you can. Okay, then we'll try and stretch the back of the legs, so relax the shoulders, and you're going to start just stretching your leg out, just stretching it out along the floor, pushing through your heel, pulling your toes towards you a little bit. Add a little bit of an ankle rotation on while you're here, some mobility in the ankle and those calf muscles. Relax the shoulders. Both directions, just starting to loosen your ankle up. Okay, if you've got any issues with your lower back and bringing the leg in doesn't feel comfortable for you, just stay with what you're doing now. Otherwise, straighten the one leg out, lift the other foot off the floor, hands around the back of the thigh when you can reach, and draw that leg towards you. And you're not hugging it in enough to tilt the pelvis, you're staying neutral, but you're trying to stretch out the back, hamstrings on this bent leg, and the quads on the front leg, on the straight leg. Add a little bit of ankle circle while you're here. So you're trying to get that stretch around the hips, through the top of the legs. Put that foot down, slide it out, slide the other foot in and lift. Just reach round. If you're not comfy reaching around the back of the leg, you can always pull on the front or use a band or a strap just to help you draw that leg in. You're trying to get that separation, stretching the hamstrings, stretching the quads. It's always useful to know why you're trying to stretch rather than just go into this position for some unknown reason, just because your instructor tells you to. This is just to improve that hip mobility. Back to your first leg and round again. Doing a few of these. You might find both feet want to move together, and that's fine. More ankle mobility the better. Once more, in. Enough abdominals switching on just to stop you just dropping back. I don't want you to be pushing back into the floor because that will pull this straight leg up. So it needs to stay nice and straight along the mat. Good. And then if you're comfortable doing so, you can hug both knees in just to stretch the lower back. And you will feel all of your lower back in contact with the floor now. You might need to reset your head because sometimes that forces your chin up. Again, if this doesn't suit you, feet on the floor and just go back to that gentle rock. Sometimes moving, if your back's very tight, rather than holding a stretch, just moving it will be more comfortable. But otherwise, bring the knees in, relax the shoulders. You can put your hands around the back of the legs to add a bit of weight if you want to. Feel the pelvis tilt back, relax the shoulders. Put your feet down, slide them out, stretch your arms back and have a good old stretch, just like you've just woken up. Stretch everything out. You might feel your back arch a bit more, and as long as that's comfortable, that's fine. Feet on the floor, hands underneath you, or roll over onto your side and up to sitting. Good. Readjust yourself. We're going to do some sitting at work. So remember now, you might want to sit on that cushion, or you might want to roll your mat up a few times just to give you a little bit more lift at the hips to stop your weight compressing down into that lower back. So get yourself comfy, roll the shoulders back. We'll start with our twisting. So you want the tailbone pointing straight down, you want your sitting bones underneath you, your spine long, and abdominals and back muscles switched on to hold you up here. Legs however you want them. You can cross your ankles, you can cross a bit higher, or you can have your legs out straight, whatever suits you today. One hand behind you, just sitting underneath the shoulder, and then you turn in that direction, little rotation. Come back, turn in the other direction. Try and keep your pelvis fixed, and you'll know if it's moving because your feet will start to move. You'll get this little bit of a pedal go on. So you want to avoid that, so sit up, out of the hips, and twist. Doesn't matter if you don't go very far, you're just looking for that line really down the side. Back, lift the torso. So I want you to, although you're twisting and you are using your obliques, I want you to use your back muscles as well to keep you up. You're not slouching into it. Sometimes people kind of turn into it with a bit of a rounded spine. So lift up and twist. You can put a little bit of pressure against the other leg just for a bit of leverage, but don't pull this leg in because you'll start to feel it in your sciatic nerve. Twisting round. Check these feet if they're pedaling. And you've got a choice of staying with this. This is quite nice if you're quite tight because the arms give you that bit of leverage to help you get the stretch. But to bring it into more of a strength position, then you take your arms out, you take the levers away. So you bring your arms into a box. You might want to change your leg position if you suddenly feel that you've dropped back because your arms have gone. So change leg position if you want to. Pull yourself up straight and then twist. So you've got no arms helping now. Your arms are holding this box position. So you've got to do the work from these core muscles. They've got to twist you. So you're trying to rotate the shoulders around, but not the hips. Keep drawing your head for the ceiling. Lengthen through your legs. Now, if you can, have your feet a little bit wider, just to start to use the leg muscles a little bit more. If that means you need to bend your knees, then that's fine. So now your legs, you're going to be aware of the leg muscles working harder now to stabilise you, and there's more temptation to drop back. You want this 90-degree angle at the hip. So you're using these top of the thigh muscles, tensing them to lift you up and keep you up. If your shoulders are starting to get tired or your neck is getting tired, lower your arms. If, however, you're thinking, go on Sharon, this is a bit easy today, take the arms out. Now the arms don't travel across the torso. You keep using these thigh muscles, contract to keep you upright. Shoulders back, chest out. Starting to get warm, it's a powerful move this one. One more each way, lift the torso, contract these thigh muscles. And then relax. Bend the knees. Oh, I told you that was a tough one. Bit of beetle and angel, I think, and then we're going to do some toe stretching. So bit beetle and angel just to move again. Soften the knees, curl into a ball, tuck your chin in, breathe into your back. Don't fling, open out like a flower. Chest forward, shoulders back and down. And again, curl in. Tuck your chin in. Maybe pull your tailbone under slightly. Breathe into your back. And then open out, shoulders back and down. Spine lengthens. You almost feel like you're sticking your bum out slightly. And curl in again. That's better, isn't it? Right, bit of... Oh no, I'm missing one. We've got to do our legs first. Oh. Right, legs first. We're going to use these thigh muscles a bit more. So if you bend one leg, whichever one you fancy, hands I would put around the back of the thigh so you're not mashing into your knee, and pull your torso up towards your leg. This straight leg, we're going to lift it off the floor. Not a long way, we're going to lift it. And again, you're contracting these thigh muscles to lift. Avoid the temptation of dropping back. Yes, the leg will lift, but there's no work from the leg muscles. You're just hinging on your hip joint now. So up nice and straight and contract the thighs. You might be pushing down on the other leg, and that's fine because that's going to make you use your hamstrings. You'll feel it under your hand. Lift. Lengthen through the top of your head. I'm going to do a couple more. You might want to do a few more than that. You might have already stopped. Entirely what feels right for you. Then I'm going to change legs. So bend the other leg. I'm just going to scoot here slightly. So remember, you're going to hold at the back of the thigh because it also helps you sit up. And then contract the thigh muscles on the leg that you want to lift and lift it. So you're looking, you might want to cramp at first. If it's not used to doing it, then start, give it a rub, have another go. Pull the toes back slightly if you can. So you're going to work the shin at the same time. Get the spine long. Good, really good for toning these leg muscles. Good, again I'm going to do another couple. You stay with me if you want to, or carry on and do a few more while I blather on about the next exercise, or you might decide that you've had enough. Give the legs a quick rub, then we're going to get into the feet. So we're going to stay sitting, and you're going to stay with one leg bent, but that's the leg you're going to work now. So the other leg, you just put it out your way. I'll do this side so you can see what I'm doing. So this is the leg we're going to work, the one with the foot bent, with the knee bent rather. Sit up, and you're going to just start to stretch your toes out a little bit. The other foot wants to do it as well. You're just stretching your toes out a bit. They might want to cramp. If you've got very tight feet and they feel like they want to cramp, you might want to start with a little bit of a foot massage. You might find somebody else do that for you. No, not me. So you might want to start with a bit of a foot massage, and then when you're ready, you're just going to spread your toes out and you're trying to fan them down one at a time. The other foot's trying to show you what to do. Spread them out. We're just trying to get the muscles in the feet working, because if you've got very tight feet, you're going to start having knee, hip, Achilles issues, and we tend to neglect them, so give them a bit of work. Now pick your toes up, all of them, on this one leg. You can do both together, and then put all your toes down. Ideal to do this when you're sitting watching the telly, because you're sitting watching the telly, you might as well do something, aren't you? And you just get in the habit of, whenever you think about it, take your shoes off, take your socks off if they're restricting the movement in your toes, and move them about a bit. Now pick all your toes up and see if you can just put your big toe down. See, the other one's trying to help. Just put your big toe down. You're pressing your big toe down. Now press it down, keep it down, and see if you can move the other foot. Yes, you can. I can't do that. You can. Keep practicing. You might feel it in the arch under your big toe joint. That arch there is having to work now. We're going to work that a bit more in a minute. So what I want to do now is put all your foot down on the floor and try and make the arch in your foot a bit bigger. Not scrunching your toes under, trying to lift the arch up. So you're bringing the ball of the foot and the heel closer together. It's hard to do without your foot on the floor, but you're trying to increase that arch under your foot without scrunching your toes if you can. It's hard to do. I always say, imagine a spider trying to go under there and you're trying to lift your foot away. So you're trying to make a nice big round instep. Pull up. Not a lot to watch, it's difficult to see what I'm doing, but you're trying to make a gap and then flatten it out again. Toes want to crunch underneath, so you really got to think about, press your toes down on the floor and pull them towards you. And then wriggle your toes around. Flexible feet will make a big difference to your balance as well. So then we're going to do the other foot. So flip over, turn around if you want to, and just start to, again, if the foot's feeling very tight, give it a massage first and get the blood flowing around in it, and then wiggle your toes, spread them out a little bit. Makes very boring telly this, doesn't it, watching me move my toes around. But you try and spread them out a bit and put them down from little toe to big toe. This is not just an excuse for me to wear my toe socks. Thank you, in case that's what you were thinking. Move them around, spread them out. And then pick them up and put them down. So what I would recommend is doing this every day. It's just remembering it. So, I don't know, when you're sitting watching the telly, move your feet around, you'll drive everybody else mad because you'll start moving your feet. Well, yeah, sit still, but you know. So pick them up. And then see if you can pick them up and just put your big toe down. So you're pressing through and you're trying to work that arch in your foot, part of your shock absorber system. Flat feet pushes all the pressure up when you take a step. So we're trying to keep that arch. Push your big toe down. And then see if you can press your big toe down and move the other four about. And that's working the other arch, the other side. Keep them as wide apart. Keep a gap between your toes if you can. The other foot's trying to help again. And then you've got to try and make that tunnel for the spider. So you push down on your toes and without curling them under, pull them towards you. So the arch in your foot gets bigger and then flatten out again. So it's like, you can do it with a towel. If you put a towel on the floor and try and pull it towards you. Curl under. So you're making a bridge, little gap, either side if you can. Give them a rub if they want trying to cramp. You're pushing down and pulling towards you. Good. And then move them about a bit. So try and get in the habit of doing that. So after that one where you've just sat and wiggled your toes around, you've got to work really hard now. So come on, back come. Chest stretches to start with, so put your feet on the floor. Hands behind you, just slightly beyond your shoulder, not too far. Pull your shoulders back and push your chest forward. And relax. So you'll try it again to use your back muscles to pull your shoulder blades together and down and stretch across the chest. If it's not demanding enough, hands further back, you can turn them fingers towards you. So you're having to use these back muscles much more to push your sternum forward. Right, relax. So you pull back and lift. You're going to feel this stretch in the shoulder and the arms. So if you've got any issues with your rotator cuff, you might want to keep them a bit closer. But you're pulling the inside of the elbows together, the shoulder blades together, and lifting. Ground down through your heels of your hands to help you lift up. One more. Lovely. And you can stay with this. If you are quite round shouldered, then this is a really good stretch, building up a little bit at a time. So if you look at the next thing and it's not for you, then repeat what we've just been doing. But what we're going to do next is a bit of V-sitting. So you start sitting up straight. If you've got any disc issues in the lower back or any problems with the strength in the spine in the lower back, I wouldn't do this one. So stay with what we've just done instead. Otherwise, sit up nice and straight, lengthen through the spine, through the back of the neck. Lean the shoulders back slightly, so you'll still got sort of we're going to make a V shape. Don't drop into the hips and then raise one leg off the floor. Hand just at the back of the thigh to start with, just to support you. Bring in your shin parallel to the floor and down. Same on the other side. So we're keeping the torso lifted, just with that slight backwards lean. And you can stay with this, just to build that strength. If you want the harder option, lift the one leg. You might need to lean back just slightly more to allow you to lift the other leg. Shins vertical, parallel to the floor, not vertical, parallel. And then down one at a time. So you're trying to keep the torso lifted, not dropping into yourself. Okay, I'm going to build this up. If this is enough work for you, or you're feeling any discomfort in the back, I would go back to the stretching or stay with the lower options. It is a tough move when we get to the end of it. So we start here, we lift the one leg, we lean back slightly more if you want to, lift the other leg, Take the hands away. Torso lifted. And then hands to the back of the legs, feet down. Have another go at this. We are going to move it on if you want to. So we would lift one leg, lean back slightly if we need to, we lift the other leg. We use these back muscles and the front muscles together to hold us up, and we take the arms away. Look, Mum, no hands. And sit. Where I'm going to take this from here, I'll show you and then you can see if it's right for you. We're going to do this V-set that we've just done, and we're going to straighten the legs as we roll back, rolling the spine along the floor. And then we're going to come back up. So we bring knees to chest, chest to knees. That's where we're going. I'll talk you through it. If it's not for you, stay with what we've done so far. So sit up nice and straight, raise one leg, lean back a little bit more, lengthen the spine, zip the abdominals, lift the other leg, take the hands away. Now I want you to tuck your tailbone under and roll through the spine and straighten your legs as you go. Roll down. Then I want you to bring your knees to chest and chest to knees and pull yourself back up. Good. And again, lengthen the legs, tuck the tailbone, roll down. Abs tight, knees to chest, chest to knees, back up to V. One more, good in it. Roll down. Lengthen through the torso, relax the neck and shoulders, knees to chest, chest to knees, back up. And relax. Good job. That is V sit to the 100. Well done. Right, we're going to lie down there. So hands behind you and roll yourself down to the floor. Get your spine long into our marches. So remember now, the whole point of this is to keep the torso level. So we're not going to move around, we're not going to drop into the low back. We're going to zip up and bring one foot just off the floor and down. And the other foot. And this is our foundation. What we were just doing was really hard compared to this, I know. But this is our foundation move lying down, that we know we're not relying on the floor to do the work. So when we lift the foot, we balance on one foot and we keep the spine long and these core muscles switched up. So we know we're using the muscles, otherwise the rest of the moves just become a show we're not using the body, and that's just a waste, isn't it? Because you've got nobody to show off to. Showing off to your cat, is there? Benny's not interested. Alright, we're just getting that core switched on. And again, stay with this. This is a really useful exercise. They don't all have to be bells and whistles to be effective. Lifting one foot and keeping your weight balanced and level is a good core exercise. But from here, we're going to come up to knee folds if you want to. So you lift the foot and you keep lifting to about 90 degrees. So the thigh muscles are working, pelvis is neutral, shoulders relaxed. Count to 5. Foot down, no wobbling around. Weight changes from one foot to the other and we lift. Hold it for your 5 count. Expand the rib cage to breathe. Get in the habit of breathing even in these static moves. Don't hold your breath. Come to double knee fold if you want. Lift the one leg. Bring it a little bit closer if you need to support the lower back. Bring the other leg up. Double knee fold. Feet down one at a time. So we're looking for those floating legs. I don't want to see the effort that I know you're putting in. I want it to be internal effort. Nothing to see here. Pilates gets its reputation of being easy because it looks easy. It's because you make it look blooming easy. We do most of our grunting on the inside. One more. And then we're going to go into our single leg kick. So we're going to bring the upper body in as well. So again, start with one leg. So bring the leg up to knee fold. Relax the shoulders. Raise the opposite arm so the hand sits over the shoulder. Now this torso is neutral and is going to remain with it. So tension to stop the gap between the rib cage and the pelvis from getting any bigger. Push the leg forward, pull the arm back. Come in, back to your start position and down. Pressure underneath the shoulders and the hips remains exactly the same. torso is locked. Try not to push back because that will just flatten you into the floor. That's working the front too much. We want to be long. We want the front and back and sides all working together. Lift, extend, bend and down. Come to double knee fold if you want, so one leg up. You can do a slight pelvic tilt now if you need to support the back, because you've got both feet off the floor. Both arms up, extend opposite arm and leg, push through the heel, lengthen through the top of your head. Back in, change sides. Rib cage remains level, so as that arm travels back, think about pulling that rib cage down level with the opposite side. Should feel quite a tough move this, so just check out you're not pushing back into your head. That might mean that you need to put one foot back to the floor because you've worked hard. Always know your limits. And again, extend. Back. And one more, extend. And back. Good. Feet down, hip lifts. Feels good after that one. So heels quite close to your bum. Take your block from underneath your head if you've got it there. Slot it between your knees if you want to. Lift your hips. Put them down. So you're lifting away from the floor, anchoring through your feet, through your shoulders, and lifting your body off the mat. Try not to push into your head. And anchor through your shoulders as well, because if you don't, then you'll just slide along the mat. Lift up. Arms can be out to the side for a bit of balance. If you have moved, then reset yourself, because if your feet are too far away, you're going to get cramp in the back of those legs. So anchor through your feet, through your shoulders, and lift yourself up. Stay here if you can. Maybe bring your feet a little bit closer. Press down through one foot, bring the other leg to knee fold. Push through a little bit more on this supporting foot to keep your hips up and square. Down. Change the weight into the other foot. Anchor down through that foot, through both shoulders. Knee fold. Square your hips. And I'm going to stay up here. See if we can do a few more. If your lower back is complaining, go back down, come back up and have another go, or just stay with the up and down. Otherwise, come up. Make sure the tailbone hasn't dropped down or come too far up. It should be straight out neutral. Press down through one foot, lift the other foot, anchor down. Should be aware of your bum muscles working here. If you're feeling it in your neck, put the weight in your shoulders, not your neck. Come down, have a rest if you need to. Press and lift. Bum muscles should be screaming at you by now. Press and lift. Always squaring the pelvis. It's going to want to drop or tip. Keep squaring it up. Good. Last one. Press and lift. Now lift both feet. No, not really. Down and in. Well done. Might feel a little bit tightening in the lower back after that one because you've been using your bum muscles quite a lot. So a little bit of rocking around. If it's feeling quite tight, then a bit of happy baby if you want to. And then we're just going to lie onto the side. So roll over onto your side. Bit of chest opener. You've earned your chest opener now. Block or arm or rolled up towel, whatever you want underneath your head. Get your shoulders square. Draw that rib cage up. If you don't, then there's a drop and your one hip is going to be higher than the other and all your pelvic, all your spine is offline. So square up. Top foot can be in front, top knee can be in front of bottom knee if you want to, for a bit more stabilising. Dear oh dear. So arm out in front. You're going to lift your arm up to the ceiling. And you're going to twist and open, chest opener. A little bit of pressure through the legs, just to give you that support. Come back to centre and down. Doesn't matter how far your arm goes back, it goes back as far as your arm will go. All I want you to feel is that shoulder blades are squeezing together slightly, chest is opening, there might be a stretch in the shoulder. If there's discomfort around the hip, pull up a little bit more underneath and maybe do a split stance just to stabilise around that pelvis. Good. Keep drawing the ribcage, squaring the hips, lift and twist. A little bit of pressure through the legs will give you a lot more stability to allow you to reach out with that arm. And down. Good. So it's a rotation of the torso. Check the neck's not tensing up, reaching through with your arm, pressing through your legs. Lovely. One more. You can always do more if you want to. Good. Okay. Then we're going to get into these legs a little bit. So we're going to do our torpedo. So you're going to have your legs straight. Now, quite often as soon as you straighten the legs, the body goes into kind of a shifted posture to try and stabilise. Get your bottom shoulder level with your top shoulder and put whatever you need to underneath your head for stability. You can use your arm as long as it doesn't pull you out of line. I find that brings my shoulder out of position and hurts my neck. So for me, a bent arm is the best position. You can put a cushion, you can use a block, whatever suits you to make sure your neck feels supported and your shoulders as level as possible. Pull that rib cage, square the hips, feet together and pushing through the soles of your feet and through the top of your head. Don't over exaggerate that posture. I don't want you to stick your chest and your belly out. I want your heels, tailbone, back of the head all lined up. And I want to lift your top leg using your outer thigh muscles. Pelvis stays square. And then you want to lower it again. So all you're doing. So as you lift the leg, you draw the underside of your waist up at the same time. Good. The reason for this, sometimes as the leg lifts, we collapse the pelvis down. And then you'll feel it around your tailbone. Square the hips, keep them square. So you're using the outside leg muscles to lift. If you can, and you want to, lift the top leg, leave it there, stretch through your feet, draw the underside of your waist up, and use the inner thigh on the bottom leg to pull it away from the floor. Don't let the pelvis tilt. Bring the top foot to the bottom foot, push through the soles of your feet, and lower back to the floor. Do it again if you can, so square up, heels, hips, head all lined up. Oh, I like that one. Lift the top leg, use the outer thigh to lift it, pull the underside of your waist up. Same with the bottom leg, we're going to use the inner thigh muscles this time to pull it away from the floor. Top foot to bottom foot, push through the soles of your feet, through your head, and lower. Your knees don't need to be locked tight. They can have a soft bend in them, so you're not hurting the joints, but stretch out through the torso. Outer thigh lifts the top leg. Pull the underside of the waist. Inner thigh pulls the bottom leg. Feet come together and you push through the soles of your feet. And you lower. One more. Go on then. Top leg, outer thigh. Bottom leg, inner thigh. Feet together, stretch out. And lower. Good job. Bend the knees. Curl into a little bit of a ball to release your back. Got to do the other side. Push yourself up. Turn yourself over. And we do it all over again. So lie yourself down again. Release shoulder. Get it comfortable. It might be tighter than the other one. You might need more cushions. You might need to change position. Find one that works for you. Knees are bent to start with. Arm out in front. Knees are stacked or top leg in front if you want to. You can always put another cushion or towel underneath that knee. All those cushions you bought and got told off for wasting money, see? Quite useful. Got to find a use for the candles next. Right, arm out in front, knees are power cut. Lift the arm up and open. So make sure your neck, shoulders feel comfortable so you can enjoy that stretch. And up. And down. Remember to just draw that rib cage up slightly so you're not letting the spine drop down into the mat. Lift and twist, pressing into the feet a little bit. Any discomfort around that lower back, Try the split stance, pull the rib cage up a little bit more, lengthen through your arm, and up and down. Be aware of using the muscles in your back. We tend to forget, when we're lying here floating the arm, we tend to forget that the spine's got a job to do. Lengthen it out, engage the muscles in your back. Pressing a little bit into your legs allows you to enjoy that stretch. And up, push down into the floor. And again, reach up, a couple more. Feel that rotation, feel the muscles in your back working, shoulders and necks relaxed. And up. One more, reach up and twist. Lovely. Then our torpedo. Get yourself straight again. Check this shoulder. You might need to move because you've got your legs straight now. I don't want you to go into an arched back or an overarched back. Heels, hips, head, all lined up. Pull the rib cage up. Just going to look for the government so I can do three-word spin too. Stretch out. You're going to use the outer thigh muscles to lift the top leg. And lower it. So that what we're looking for now, again, this is our foundation. We're making sure when we lift the leg, we don't drop into the floor and let the pelvis drop down. So we keep the pelvis, keep the hip bones stacked. So we're using the outer leg muscles and the bum muscles to lift this leg. And you can stay here. If you're still learning this technique, you can stay with it. Or you can stretch out a little bit more. Pull the underside of the waist up. Lift the top leg using the outer thigh. Tense the inner thigh muscles on the bottom leg and pull from the inner thigh up. It's not going to come a long way. The top foot comes down to it and you're stretching out. And then you lower your feet to the floor. So the aim is to build up the strength around the torso to support the pelvis and the strength in the leg muscles to lift the legs. So lengthen through the spine, through the soles of your feet. Check your neck. If your neck's tensing, you might try and be lengthening just from the neck. It's from the tailbone all the way up through the spine. Lift, lift, together. Stretch out. Enjoy that moment, just holding your feet off the floor and then lower them down. And again, lift, lift. Together, just check that, especially if you're quite bendy, there's a tendency to go into a banana back where you overwork back. We want lined up, front and back level. Good. Together. And now I'm going to get you to do one more if you can. Lift, lift, together, and lower, and bend your legs. Good. Lovely, lovely. Right, up onto your hands and knees. So hands on the floor, back shoulder distance apart, big push down, up onto your knees. A little bit of a roll and rock around to start with. Just loosening up, bit of a circle, bit of a figure of 8 if you want. Spread your fingers, work onto your hands and your wrists while we're here. Alright so far? Of course you are. Bit of knee hovering, so we're going to do some upper body strength and some core strength now. So have your hands underneath your shoulders. You can come down onto your forearms for this one to lift your knees if you want to, if you've got any issues with your wrists, or you can pad out underneath your hands. Nice long spine. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. Feet flat or tucked, whatever's right for you. You're going to push down through your hands, tense the torso and see if you can lift your knees about an inch. And down. So first couple, we're just getting it right. If you've got hypermobility in the elbows and your arms don't feel they're supporting you, then down on your elbows, on your forearms is fine if you need that for the support. But push and lift. And shoulders back and down. Next time we're going to hold it. So press down through your hands, lengthen the spine, don't round your back, and lift your knees, pushing down through your hands if you're going to do a handstand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. And sit back off those hands. Another go if you can. Come back. If it's too much, you've done one. You can stay in child's pose if you want, but otherwise, push down, lengthen through the spine from tailbone to crown. Lift the knees, just an inch or two. For 5, 4, push the floor over your arms. 3, 2, 1, and down. Sit back. Good. If you've had enough, stay in child's pose. Remember, you've got your child's pose stretches to the side if you want. If you've had enough of this upper body strength, no problem. If you can, we're going to take it into a bit of a plank if you want. So from here, push down through your hands and lift your knees. Straighten your right leg, bring it back in. Straighten your left leg, bring it back in and down. How's that go? Lift the knees, push the floor away, try and keep your torso still. If you need to lift your hips a little bit higher, then fair enough. Straighten your right leg, tuck your toes under, bring it back. Knees still hovering, straighten your left leg, bring it back, knees to the floor. See if we can do a full plank. Listen to your body. If it's screaming that it doesn't want to do it, it means it. But if you can, or you want to, I'm not sure if it's the same thing, push down, lift the knees, straighten your right leg, tuck your toes, push down a little bit through that foot, straighten your left leg. Bring your right knee back in, hover it, left knee back in, and down. Once more, hover, extend the right leg, put some weight on that foot, keep pushing down through your arms and lengthen the spine to allow you to move the left leg back. Pull the right foot in, pull the left foot in, and down. Well done, sit back into your child's pose. Excellent strength for that upper body. Breathe. If you don't like child's pose, stay on the knees and do your rolling around. If you do like child's pose, you can come up high, and that is a nice stretch for the quads. Or you can come down lower, and that's a lower back stretch. Takes the compression out of the lower back. If you don't like either of them, you might want to sit and do beetle and angel, or you might want to stand and do ragdoll. It's pretty much the same thing. Good work. And then we're going to do some cat and cow to finish. So again, beetle and angel if you don't like cat and cow. So hands underneath. Oh no, we've only got flipping time left. Hands underneath the shoulders. I've obviously talked quickly at you. So I want you to curl into a ball. Tuck the tailbone under and curl into a ball. Straighten out and arch the back. Shoulders back and down. Chest bone, sternum pressing forward. And level up again. So when you curl in, you tuck your tailbone under, push down through the floor and tuck your chin in. Let your head go quite heavy and your neck relax. So you're pushing up through the spine, pushing down through the floor. You level out, then you arch the back. So you pull back with the heels of the hands, press the chest forward and allow the back to arch. For most of us, that's quite a hard move because we're very tight in that upper back. So you're pulling down and back and pushing the sternum forward. And then level up, same again. Push down and round. We tend to find this easier, although quite a lot of us only work the upper back here. So think about pulling the pelvis forward and under. And straighten. And then on the arching, we tend to stick the butt out and forget about the chest. The shoulders back, chest out, butt out. Right. Now we have a little bit more time, so I'm going to get to do a few press-ups. Yes, you can. So we're going to start with plank, 3/4 plank. So bring your hands a little bit further forward. You're going to press down through your hands, keep your chest lifted, squeeze your bum and pull yourself up, forward. Don't drop into that lower back. I don't want you to feel heavy in your hips. push up and sit back. And you can stay with this. If your wrists don't like press ups, stay with this. It will build your back, strengthen your bone density, but lengthen through the spine. I want you to feel that you're not heavy in those hips. Because what I'd like you to do, if you can, in that 3/4 press up, squeezing the elbows against your side, bend your arms. Chest and hips are level, and then pull yourself back up and sit back. What you've got to watch for this one is you don't let the hips drop rather than bending the arms. You keep your hips light and up, and you bend your elbows so your hips and chest lower at the same time, and push back up and sit back. Once more, if you can, come forward, push the floor away with your arms, squeeze that centre and lengthen the spine, and lower your chest and hips at the same time. And push up and sit back. We can do this from full plank if you want. It's a tough exercise, close arm press up from the full one. So if you're feeling it in your lower back, then it's not for you. Stay on the knees or stay with just the plank. But if you can, and you want to, again, I'm not sure it's the same thing, come to your 3/4 plank, tuck your toes, straighten your legs one at a time, see everything feels okay and supported. No weight in those hips, pushing the floor over your arms, elbows close to your body as you bend, and your chest and hips lower together. They don't have to lower a long way, but they bend together. And then you push back up. Bend the knees, sit back. Come to 3/4 plank, lengthen the spine, pushing the floor over your arms, tuck your toes, straighten your legs one at a time, check that you've got the support before you bend the arms, squeeze the elbows to your ribs, lower chest and hips together, and push back up. Bend the elbow, bend the knees, and sit back. One more. Always listen to your lower back. If it's tight, then it's done enough, it's done enough. Listen to it. 3/4 plank, toes tucked, straighten the right leg, push through the arms, straighten the left leg. Right, we're up in plank. Can we bend the elbows? If we can, squeeze into the ribs, chest and hips together, push back up. Well done. Knees down, sit back, smug mode. Come on, build it up. Push the hips back. Take your arms and your head over to the side, whichever side you fancy, and breathe into the stretched side. Come back to centre. Same on the other side. Take your head, your arms over, push your hips, square the pelvis, breathe into your long side. And then back up onto your hands and knees. We're going to come up to standing, so you're just going to stretch the calf out first, straighten whichever leg you fancy, push onto the ball of your foot and push the heel away. Same on the other side, just stretching the calf, push through, because we're going to stand up through these calves, and if they're feeling a bit tight, it's going to affect it. Push the heel away. Once more. So bring your hands in front of your knees, push down onto your hands to lift your knees and roll you back onto your feet, into a squat and slowly up. Well flipping done, good work. Up on your feet, let's check how flexible those toes still are, so wriggle them around a little bit, check you can still see me. And then I want you to just rock on your feet. Rocking, doesn't have to be a big lift, doesn't have to be a lift at all, just letting your weight shift forward and back will do it. But I want you to feel that you're using the front and back of your lower leg, and it's good for mobilising the ankles. See if you can stay out there a little bit longer, find something to look at, one spot, and pull the heels up, pressing through the balls of your feet, tucking your tailbone in, reaching your chest up, slowly down. Again, if you can, fidget the toes, get comfy, and then rise up onto the balls of the feet, push down through the balls of the feet, tucking the bum under slightly, lifting the chest up, rising the head for the ceiling. Pull the heels right up to the back of your knees. And down. And then pedal the feet, just to release that one. Hands in the back pockets, feet maybe a little bit wider. Pull shoulders back, puff the chest out. Really expand and breathe in. You want to use these back muscles. And relax. So pull back and down, lift the torso. Once more, pull back and down through the shoulders and lift the chest. Lovely. And ragdoll to finish. Any osteoporosis or slip discs, it's not for you. So your option is a little squat, just to build up the strength and stretch the back that way. Otherwise, tuck the chin in, lengthen the neck, roll down as far as is right for you. So let the weight just come slightly forward in your feet and go a bit top heavy. So you start to tip over almost whether you want to or not. Stopping at any point where your back is enjoying the stretch. Carry on when you're ready. Keep the weight more in the middle and front of your feet and you'll find it easier. So you want to feel that lengthen through the back of the leg, through the spine, stopping wherever's right for you and hanging and relaxing the neck. Maybe a little rock, maybe a little bit of a circle round through that torso. Letting the arms swing a little bit. Nice passive stretch for the shoulders. I'm eating a necklace here. Okay, put the weight back in your heels for balance. Put your hands on your legs. Slowly come back up. Use the muscles in your back to lift you. Tailbone down. Spine builds over the top. Shoulders roll back and down. Toes spread and wriggle around. Bum squeezes. Done. Excellent work. Hope you've enjoyed that, or you do enjoy it when you get to it. Let me know. It's good to hear from you all. And I hope to see you all soon. Have a good week. Ta-ra.